Hey, we've got a comic call video coming up. We've got over 30 books that we're going to check out. So stick around. Mangekyo Sharingan. Okay, Otaku Tour Guide here with a comic call video. This is a thick stack of books that we got, and we're going to go over what I got in this haul. This is a special video because the bottom book here is a momentous book that I'm adding to the collection, and we'll get to what that is, but stick around to the end for that. It's a big book for me, and it's for my collection. And we've also just got all these books stacked up here, so it's going to be a fun haul video. I would definitely say this is my biggest haul of the year. Hands down, it's the biggest haul of the year, just because of this one momentous book makes it the hands down haul of the year. And I'm quite impressed with the books I picked up so far this year. We've added a lot. I don't know how much more I'll add for the rest of the year. We've got ECCC coming up in August, which we'll have to see if the event is going to be worth my time and money to attend. But we're hoping to attend. So if I can get some, if there's some creators there that I like, I'll definitely hit it up. But yeah, we've got a lot of books to go through, so we're going to just hit it. But I've added, there are some big books in this haul, but definitely two books in this stack that I'm particularly elated to be adding to the PC. And we'll get to those, and it's going to be a fun video. So I've been watching, March Madness, and it's been exciting to see all the games, and now I'm taking a little break from the games. It's evening, and I'm preparing these videos, and we're just gonna have a great time going through the books. Okay, so let's start with our first book here. We've got Guardians of the Galaxy number 5, and I picked this up for $2. It's a $10 book, but what makes this a key is that it's the first full appearance of Angela in Marvel Comics. Now, you know her as the Spawn Hunter, the Hell Spawn Hunter in Spawn, created by Neil Gaiman back in the 90s. They had a huge legal fight, Neil Gaiman and Todd McFarlane, over the rights of this character, and it was a decade-long legal battle, but eventually they found that Neil Gaiman had ownership of the character. He then sold it to Marvel, and then Marvel has integrated the character into the Thor universe. She is now Thor's long-lost sister. And so that's kind of a cool development. Again, this book was sitting at half-price books, and I'm sure she's coming to the movies and whatnot, so you should, it would have been a mistake to just leave it there for $2. I just picked it up. It's a pretty high-grade copy. The next book I got was just completely a cover buy, and it's this great cover by Greg Capullo for Batman. I believe this is volume 2, 51. Look at that amazing cover. I don't normally get books, modern books, that are, that don't really have a lot of key value to it. But I do pick up comics that where the covers are just really nice. And this one, as you can see, this is again, the grade was really decent, and it's just a beautiful cover there. Greg Capullo. Just a lot of gray, just a lot of gray shades, black and gray, and you got Gotham there with the bat signal on. Just an amazing visual of for a cover. Yeah, so I just thought it was cool. This next one is an Atlas comic books from 1975, I believe, or maybe 74 or 75. 75, yeah. Have no idea what this character is about, and it's a very low grade copy. I would grade it at about a 2.5. It's got a lot of creases. The spine's really beat up, but it's still, the staples are still in place. Again, I have no idea about this character, but apparently Neil Adams worked on. This is a mini series. It's a 4-issue run, but Neil Adams worked on the first 2 covers of this mini series, and then a gentleman by the name of Pablo Marcos worked on this last issue for the cover. Again, I don't know much about this story. It's about a barbarian, but this one has the origin of this. It's now a high grade copy of this is around $50, but I thought, okay, well, this is probably going to be one of those rare books, and so I just picked it up, and I'm sure someone down the line will have interest in getting comics like this for just the age of the book, the fact that Atlas is no longer around, and then that this character really is sort of like a one-shot miniseries. I haven't heard of anything related to Iron Jaw, but it's about this barbarian with a steel jaw, and it looks pretty cool. This is the origin story. So I just picked it up. Again, I got it for 13 cents. That's the only reason I picked it up. Had this been like 25 cents or 50 cents, I wouldn't have picked it up, but for like a dime, for a Bronze Age, obscure Bronze Age Atlas book, I said, why not? The next book I picked up was Action Comics 513. And again, this book isn't all that much, and the grade is probably around maybe a 6. Yeah, it's around a 6. With a clean and a press, it could grade a little higher, but it's a dark, it's a dark cover. I believe the sort of the creases up here and down here, they kind of stick out. There aren't too many spine ticks. The spine ticks are decent. It has spine ticks, but they're not like color breaking because they don't break into the dark portion of the book. So presents pretty well. Again, it's a kind of a key issue. I guess it's the first appearance of an organization called Hive, but not the Hive I'm sure you're thinking about, but it's an acronym, HIVE. And again, any kind of Superman book I can pick on the cheap. I got this for $2. Got for $2. I thought, yeah, for $2, getting a Bronze Age Superman newsstand edition was worth it. This next one I got again for half off of cover price. I got for $1.50, and this is a big one. Paper Girls #1. Paper Girls #1. This has been optioned Amazon is apparently working on a production. Amazon Television, or Prime, I should say, is working on a production to bring this to the big screen or the small screen. And so I'll be interested to see how this kind of pans out. It's got a value of $25, a high grade copy, and this is a high grade copy. You know, there are a few bends here, so it definitely needs a press. Nothing color breaking, but I just thought it was a cool book to have, given it's a spec book. Yeah, I mean, I thought if this show really takes off on Amazon, that might be good. Now, that's the one thing about you know, these television spec type books. Amazon Prime has a pretty decent, I think, viewership, but it's not one of the major ones. So that's the worry. Like, you know, Paper Girls coming on Amazon, you might not see it have the popularity that it could with, say, a Netflix or like an HBO Max series. So, or even a Disney Plus. Disney Plus probably would have done really well for this book, but it's gone to Amazon, and so hopefully Amazon will do a good job marketing and you know, investing in the production, and hopefully it, you know, just has an impact on pop culture and has some popularity associated with it. Okay, so yeah, that's our initial kind of stack. I'm gonna take this off here now for a minute, and then we're gonna look at the books I got in this package. So this is a package, and I got it off of eBay, and I'll just reveal what they are as I'm opening it up. Packaged pretty well. Now, these are 3 books. These are 3 modern books. And like I say, I don't oftentimes get modern books, but I just had to have these, add these to my collection because they're just amazing. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna start out. Let's see, which one do I want to present first? I guess we'll go, yeah, we'll start with Wonder Woman. These are all Peach Momoko books, and these are, as you know, I've been adding more Peach Momoko to my collection, and you know, it's not like I'm trying to collect every piece of Peach Momoko, you know, cover that comes out. That's not my intent, because there's a lot of stuff coming out, and it'd just be a fool's errand to try and do that. But I am definitely trying to collect the characters and the artwork that are really just awesome. So, you know, if she comes out with anything, you know, Batman, Superman, X-Men, you know, characters that I like, books that I follow, I will invest and try to pick it up. And this Wonder Woman cover is a great example of that. I love Wonder Woman because, you know, I watched her as a little kid. I watched Linda Carter as a little kid. I love what they're doing with the books now. And, you know, I think just the character of being part of that, you know, Justice League and part of the Trinity, Superman, Batman, because I love them so much. Wonder Woman also is among the characters that I'm starting to collect more of. So I saw this cover it's just a beautiful cover. She just does amazing artwork, and when you see a book like this, it just makes you like appreciate her even more. So I wanted to get this and add it, was able to. The next one is Amazing Spider-Man Legacy 875. And this, so there were a couple Spider-Man figures, Spider-Man covers by Peach Momoko that are out there. And they're all wonderful. They're all beautiful, but they're all sort of darker blue backgrounds on two of them. Another one is kind of him with like, they're a bunch with like Spider-Woman. They're a bunch with like, you know, sort of him in like action poses where he's swinging through the air. And they're all great, and they're all a little bit pricey, I have to say. But for me, this spoke to me because I think what makes Peach Momoko great is obviously the great characterization work she does, but also just the details in the picture. So when you have like flowers, this webbing, the spider, just when you have those details along with the character in the cover, it really makes it much more artful and amazing to look at. So when I saw this Spider-Man cover, I said, hey, you know what? This is the cover I want in my collection. If I'm gonna have one Spider-Man book in the collection by Peach Momoko, this is the one I wanted. The other ones maybe I'll try to add at some point. But yeah, this is the one that spoke to me. It's a white background, very colorful. Spider-Man just complements the color in this, and you can look at all the great detail in this cover. It's just amazing. There's so much detail with like the buildings, the flowers, the webbing, the spider, the petals that are falling. Just amazing, And so yeah, just happy to add it to my collection. And the final one, this is, I think, if you're a Wolverine fan, like most of us are, definitely I am. Wolverine is, again, a character that's just, you know, has so many great covers. And I was kind of like, you know, thinking, okay, let's see what, you know, if there's a Wolverine cover by Momoko that comes out, I've got to try and get it. And then, lo and behold, this amazing Weapon X headgear with the claws out of Logan with the different suits in the background. Man, this is just an amazing cover, and it's current. It's right now. I think you can get it. It was just released, I think, this month. So yeah, this is available at your comic shop, I'm sure, for a little bit of a premium, because that's what comic book shops seem to be doing. They get these covers and they just add a little premium to it, sell it for $10 rather than the $6.90 or $5.99 cover price. So I did pay a little bit of a premium. I think I paid $8 for this one. I paid $9 for the Spider-Man and $8 for the Wonder Woman. So in all, 3 books, paid about $25 for 3 Peach Momoko books. I think that's a great deal. And so no regrets getting that, because these aren't, to run these 3 specific issues down at the LCS, first of all, you're probably driving to several locations. That's just calculating the gas and time, has you at over 25. So that's the one nice thing about eBay. Even though people complain, if there's books you want to pick up, especially these Peach Momoko books, you can kind of like look for them on the cheap, you know, give an offer. That's what I did with this one. I offered, you know, 25 for 3 books. The guy had all 3 books I wanted. One of the only guys that had all 3 books I wanted. So I was kind of like, if this guy doesn't accept my offer, I might have to just buy it at what he's wanting for them. But fortunately, yeah, he accepted the offer, and I got it for a little cheaper. I'll get 3 books, 25 bucks. Happy to pick that up. Amazing, amazing cover. I just can't get over how awesome that cover is. Okay, so yeah, we've gone through some big books, and they're just gonna continue to get bigger from here on out. We got a lot of books. I picked this up for $1.50, and it's a key book. It's Harley Quinn #1, volume 2. And this is the first appearance of the Brooklyn Bruisers. Not too familiar with Harley Quinn or her storyline. But yeah, I knew this was this is like a $20 book. So, and it's a, you know, first issue for a popular character. I'm sure I can get good trade value out of this, and that's really the intent with these, you know, pickups from half-price books. If I'm getting it, you know, really cheap, like $1.50, and they're like $20 books, it's, for me, it's like I can use this as trade fodder to get the books that I'm looking for. So hopefully, yeah, if you're interested in this book, let me know. I'm definitely open to trades. It's not like I'm trying to get max value out of this trade. I just want something, you know, equivalent value for what it's booking, for something I want. So yeah, happy to add this to my collection. My cat wants attention. All right, the next book. The next book is a book that is something I ran across at half-price books, and I realized though it has quite a bit of significance. So this is the Batman Adventures, everybody's favorite animated series that became a comic book as well. So this was published back in 1995, and it's a newsstand edition. So this comic is a key, but the newsstand makes it, again, I think it's a 1-to-10 ratio between newsstand and direct editions for this year, for 1995 books. So yeah, I was just happy to pick up a high grade. This is really high grade newsstand copy of Batman Adventures. Now, this is also a key book. This is the first cameo appearance of the Gray Ghost. So for those of you who watched Batman Adventures, you'll recall in season 1, there was a character, Gray Ghost, who was voiced by the late legend Adam West. So that's a significant, it's a significant character in that series. The Gray Ghost is somebody who helped Batman solve some crimes. And again, Adam West came on and voiced that back in the 90s. He did a great job voicing that character. That character had a lot of substance to it. And so in comics, again, the first cameo appearance of that character in comics. And this is just a great cover by, you know, just a great cover of Batman there. Encapsulates the great animation from this series. And again, newsstand copy. Very happy to add this to my book. This is just, I'll probably keep this in the PC, to be honest. It's my first Batman Adventures book, but I just thought it was a cool one to add. All right. now we're going to get into my Jim Lee books, and I say this every time I do my haul videos. I always pick up Jim Lee books as part of my hauls, and so this haul is no different. And we're going to start with let's see here. I'm tempted to start with the big one first, so let's just go right to the big ones. As you know, I am working on completing my Batman Hush run, Jim Lee Hush run, and I was able to finally check it off my list. I'm no longer, well, I shouldn't say no longer. I am going to try to pick up a few more issues of Batman, but I have the run. I have all of the Jim Lee books in this Batman Hush run, which is technically 14 issues. But 2 of the issues are like variant editions, and I should 2 or 3 of the editions. So there's 15. If you're going to collect the every book in this run, including the variants, I believe it's 15 books. But I got the basic serial run, the number run, and it's 12 books. So we have 12 books to cover here, and we're just going to go through them very quickly. I will say this about this order. I was hoping that these would be in 8.5 or better. But again, the guy posted a very ambiguous, he said, basically graded the collection as 5.0, okay? And I don't know, these definitely are not 5.0 books. And he didn't price them as 5.0 books. So that's what kind of irked me about this whole experience. But I was able to talk him down in price, and I got all 12 issues for $80, including about $20 for shipping. It's 12 books, so I thought it's a little high for shipping, but I'll pay it. So essentially $100 to get 12 books. And again, it would have been a great deal had all of these copies been, very fine, or, VF plus or better books. But some of these fall into the, I would say, 7.5 range. And so that's kind of what brought the enthusiasm down when I got these books. This one in particular, it looks great from the front, but if you turn it to the back, and you can kind of see the crunch here as well, the corner. I don't know if you can see that. Maybe you can. You can see the corner right there. It's not that it's color breaking, but there's a crunch there. There's also crunch in the back. Nothing like, it's not spine break. It's not color breaking to all that much, so it could improve with the press. But even with the press, I think it would max out at around 7.5 for this. And this is a key in the run, so it was kind of disappointing. The next one is what really kind of brought me down. And in the photo, it looked really good. In fact, when you look here at first glance, you're not going to see much wrong with the book. There's nothing wrong with the book in the back. But when you get to the staple here, and let me know your thoughts. I don't know exactly how much of a grade drop this staple issue would cause. But as you can see, now this isn't something that happened because it was mishandled or anything. Well, let's compare it to the top staple here. So as you can see, this top staple is a good looking staple. It's just kind of stapled into the book, right? Nothing particularly odd about that. But when we get to the bottom staple, you can see the staple is stapled to the book, but it kind of like indents into the spine of the cover. So what you get is this sort of like jagged staple, like can you see the shape there? It just kind of cuts it. It's like a millimeter cut into the book. And it throws just the shape off. And you've got a corner trench right there as well, which is annoying. But had that staple issue not been there, I would have been happy with this grade. But because of that staple issue, I feel like that staple issue, I mean, it depends on the grader, but I see that staple issue as a major flaw, not something that can be kind of overlooked. I would look at it as like a pretty significant crease, because again, it cuts into the book and it just makes it changes the rectangular shape of the book. And yeah, for that, this is the big book in the run. So when I got this, I was really disappointed. So I kind of contacted the guy and said, hey, look, I'm really, I didn't appreciate you not mentioning that the key book in this run had this kind of issue. Had I known, I probably wouldn't have gotten this run. I probably would have paid a little bit more to get the higher grade copies. But the guy was had the attitude like, hey, look, I try to be as transparent as possible. I'm not going to give you a refund or accept returns or anything like that. But after kind of talking with him and letting him know, like, hey, look, I just had a real, I know you want your customers to feel good about their purchases, but I just don't feel good. And so he agreed to give me just a partial discount. So he gave me, I think gave me like $7 back off, a discount of $7 off this, $100 purchase. So I paid a little under $100 for it. And I can live with that. Ultimately it was my mistake for buying something where he said it's 5.0, and this is the thing, like, you're not doing any favors by necessarily undergrading the book, and then putting 2 photos up. You're not doing any favors. And that's where I think I ran into the issue. I was concerned about this book. This was the book I wanted in the collection. And I took a look at the photos and I thought, you know what? It looks decent. It looks like an 8.5. And it is. If it didn't have that staple issue, it would be an 8.5. But because of the staple issue, again, we're looking at probably a 7.5. And this is the big issue in the run. So that's what kind of irked me. And you're not, again, the sellers that think they're doing their buyers favors by just being really conservative on the grade, but not matching the pricing. Again, not doing anybody any favors. The rest of this run, not so important, but there are around 8.5 copies for the most part. This one's actually was surprising. It's got a little bit of a spine tick and a sort of a spine tick here in the mid center, but that can press out. Otherwise, this one's a really good book. And this is another key, so happy to have added that. This one has issues, but I have a real high grade copy of this, so this is just an addition. I'm happy to keep this one. I'm not looking to sell or trade this one. I don't mind having multiple copies of Jim Lee books. This is in decent shape as well. This one is another key. I wanted this one kind of in a better shape. This one has spine ticks and they are color breaking for the most part. So I would say this is a 7.5, maybe a 7.0. It's got a little corner ding here as well. Maybe a 7.5, 7.0. Again, it with a press, it might improve. I'm sure with a press, we could get up to like a 7.5, but yeah, for the most part, it still presents really well. It's still a minty looking book. It's just that the spine ticks there that belie that case. Great Joker cover, 615. This is, I would place this at about an 8.5. This is actually one of the better conditioned books that came. This one also, nothing major, 8.5. The guy definitely read these books, so they just have that. Again, with a clean and a press, we could probably get these up into the 9s. You could definitely press out some of those. They're non-color breaking spines there, so they're just spine ticks that you can fix. As is, these are 8.5s for the most part. With a press, who knows, could improve. But that first appearance of Hush, though, is the one that really hurts. All right, this one, 618, and then last but not least, we have the villains, the Rogue Gallery here cover. There's another one with Robin and Catwoman on the roof with Batman. That's one we still have to pick up. There's another variant, I think, that we have to pick up, but we'll pick those up. In fact, I know Ancient Comics has one of the covers, or maybe Subspace, one of the comic book shops that I hit up has them. But now I've completed the run. So Batman Hush is no longer on my list of things to pick up. So just really happy about that. Okay. My last 2 Jim Lee books are also pretty significant. These are definitely two books that are keys for me, that are important books. And we'll start with big one. Start with the bigger one first. Punisher War Journal #6. So, I've been wanting to pick this one up for a while now. And I got first of all, I got to thank the eBay seller. It looked like a very, again, I'm really just wanting a book to be in the 8.5 range. Okay. And this book is definitely in the 8.5 range. I mean, it could probably be in the 9.0 range, to be honest. It's got a little bit of a corner issue there. It's very minor here as well. And you've got just negligible spine ticks along the edge. They're not really color breaking, very negligible. So again, with a press, I could definitely see this coming back a 9.0, which is kind of where my equilibrium is. I'm not focused on like 9.8s. I'm focused kind of like, as long as it's like 8.5 and above is acceptable for a slabbed book. That's for Copper Age. Obviously, if you get into the Bronze Age, that the leeway is a little bit more. But for this 80s book, I would be looking at 8.5 or better. And that's what we have here. We have a newsstand copy, 8.5, possibly a 9 of Punisher War Journal. And look at that amazing cover. Again, early Jim Lee work. I think this was 1989 when he did this cover. Just amazing. Amazing. All right. And the next Jim Lee book is something that kind of, again, I mentioned in a past video, the Korean concept of fate. The Korean word for fate is unmyeong. And I take that to heart on anytime I dig through a long box, anytime I go out with the intent of picking up a comic book. I'm very open to meeting a book that I hadn't had intention of buying, or had no idea if such a book was out there. But if it speaks to me and we kind of like connect, I know that sounds odd to connect with the book, but if that happens, I see it as like, okay, I was destined, or it was my fate to have run across this book, and so I have to pick it up. And that's definitely the case with this book. Hawkeye and Mockingbird. So Solo Avengers, Hawkeye and Mockingbird #1. This cover is, I forget who did this cover, but the cover is not the important aspect of this. What's important is there's 2 stories in this book, and the second story is penciled by Jim Lee, and that's very significant. It's one of his earlier works. In fact, this was distributed to publishers back in September of 1987, which puts it right around the same time frame as his first cover work for Marvel, which is Alpha Flight number 53. And I've gone over why I think that book is undervalued and people need to go out and pick it up. But this is another one. If you find it, pick it up. This has early Jim Lee. So you have the the very first art in the official handbook of Marvel Universe. That's the first artwork for Marvel. Then you have the first interior work, the first full interior work in Alpha Flight 51. And then you have this book and Alpha Flight 53 as his sort of quote unquote second full stories, or second full. Well, this one is full stories, because this has 2 stories. So he does a full story in the book. And of course, in Alpha Flight 53, he does the entire book, cover to interior. So that 53 is really significant. I would rank it as, among all 4 of those early works, I would rank the first cover and the first full book as the collectible. And then you'd go with the first art, then you'd go with the first full book, and then you'd go, I think this is 4th. So this is technically probably 4th in terms of importance for early Jim Lee Marvel, and it's very obscure. I don't know too many people who know that this is a Jim Lee book. This is like a $2. It's a bargain bin book all day long, even though it's the first issue. It's the first issue, and it's the first appearance of. I believe it's the first appearance of Mockingbird. Correct me if I'm wrong, Comic Fam. It's the first appearance of them together in their own series. It's one of those 2. But again, not an expensive book, but it is significant because of the early Jim Lee work, the interior work that he did in this book. So awesome. I've been adding some pretty cool early Jim Lee books on the past couple of hauls. And so I really am feeling good about where my Jim Lee collection is. All right. We're now at the 3 big books of the haul. And so we'll start with this one first. Newsstand edition of Crisis on Infinite Earths, issue 7. This is the death of Supergirl. I recently interviewed Metarog. So shout out to Metarog. He's got an amazing collection. Just absolute. I was, I actually want to meet him one day and hang out in his room, play video games. The guy just has this amazing video game collection, comic book. I think he's got 11,000 books. He's got he showed off during our conversation. He showed off, Incredible Hulk 181, the first appearance of Wolverine. He's just got these and these Golden Age mini comics. Yeah, I would love to peer into his entire collection and just see like all the Bronze Age. It sounds like he has, for the most part, a lot of Bronze Age books, complete runs from silver to copper, which is pretty impressive. My collection definitely pales in comparison, but he did show off this book, and I gotta agree with him that this is definitely instantly becomes one of my favorite George Perez and books in the collection. The grade here is now that's the thing. The guy graded it as a 6.0. I think he was a little bit harsh. I think it does have a little corner crunch there on the top and bottom corners, but the spine is pretty decent with the press. I could see that, I could see this entire book. The corners are sharp. There are no major creases or anything. I think the guy's just being a little harsh on his grading. And again, with the press and a clean, this could come back. I want to say it could come back an 8 or an 8.5. So happy to add this. That's kind of where, again, for a book like this, if I have it in 8.5, presents really well. If I have it in 8.5, I'm happy. But I got a really good deal on this book. And it's, again, the condition is really nice. It's a newsstand edition. Just absolutely happy to own this now. And I've been scoping for this book since last year. I've had my eye on getting this book for the past year. It shot up in price a little bit, but continued to kind of just be vigilant. I wanted to find it at the price I wanted to get it at, and luckily I did. Picked it up for $12 off of eBay. That I think is very reasonable for this. So I got it, $12. I forget what I paid for, but so $12, that included the shipping. So I think I paid like $7 for the book and then $5 for the shipping. So it was $12 total. Just ecstatic for that book. All right. The next book is a Grail book. And if for those of you following me on Instagram, you probably have seen my video. But oh my goodness, this is just instantly becomes one of the best books in my collection. And yeah, no introduction needed here. This is Superman 233. And it's the first Superman book of the Bronze Age. Yep, this is what kind of kicks off the Bronze Age for Superman. And it's none other than the legendary Neil Adams. This is just one of Neil Adams' most iconic covers for Superman, and just iconic covers in comic books. A lot of people, I think, there's a lot of value for the Batman Neil Adams covers, and they're great covers. I can see why people are paying the premiums for them. They're really just dark, menacing, and wonderful looking covers. The Joker, definitely, and then there's that one where he's in the graveyard. Those are just amazing Neil Adams covers, and I can understand why people pay, And this one is not too bad in price as well. This was a kind of a pricey book to pick up in high grade as well. Unfortunately, this is not high grade. This is definitely a mid-grade copy, but it presents really well. There's a hair in there, but that's not in the bag. It's from my cat. We'll pull that out. But anyway, as I was mentioning, this presents really well. When you get closer into the book, you can see the flaws. There aren't any really big creases in the book. That's the main thing. There are no creases. Where you see issue there is in the corner of this book. You see a little bit of rub. You see a lot of spine, just stress right there, right? You see the spine, like the staple there and the stress. And the corners are rounded. There's a bit of a crease right there in the corner. You can see the crease right there in the corner. Maybe you can't, but there's a crease that runs across here. It's about, I want to say it's like an 1.5 inch crease right across the corner here. But other than that, yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. And so this definitely needs a clean and a press. The guy didn't press it. The guy didn't clean it. He just, I guess, had it in his collection for a long time, and just wanted to sell it. Now, I got this book for $45 plus $5 shipping, so $50 total. I was able to negotiate that price because I think the guy had it. He wanted $55 for the book, plus $5 shipping. I was able to talk him down, get a discount. Essentially, I offered him $45, and he accepted. And so when he did, I said yes, because I thought, I honestly think this could be a 6.0 grade. I think this could qualify as a 6.0 grade because there aren't any major flaws outside of this corner crease. But again, it's not, you can't really tell. It's color breaking, but it's like, it's very thin. Thin's not the word I'm looking for. It's very like minute in terms of the creasing. And again, with a press, it could definitely look better. And these little issues here in the top, that's just kind of the fading you would see, expect to see in a Silver Age book. So I don't think that would get necessarily graded harshly. So I could see a grader taking a look at this book and thinking, wow, this is just an amazing looking book, and grading along that perception of the book. Because when I saw the picture of it, I thought that. When I got it in my hands, I continue to think that. I mean, this is just a beautifully, it's a beautifully presenting book. And yeah, I get so happy when I look at it. I just get so happy. I love Superman, and I love these just quintessential covers for Superman. Just these images of him like flying, or just, it's just him right on the cover. When you have covers like that, and a lot of the Silver Age stuff, you don't get that luxury. But I think the fact that this is the first Superman Bronze Age book, and it's kind of like this #1 best-selling comic magazine, even though it's outlining that it's the best-selling book in comics at the time. For me, it just kind of signals, hey, this is the first, that big one just kind of pops and says first book of the Bronze Age. And it just adds a little bit of more significance in terms of the graphic design, that this is a #1 book. It's a superior book. If you want to use that kind of terminology. All right, great Neil Adams cover. Just so happy. All right, so yeah, we've got some big books. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna turn and we're gonna open this package, okay? So I'm just gonna kind of shift down the view here and just show you, don't mind the beer bottle in the back. We're just gonna cut and as you're watching and talk about it. So you're probably asking me, so yeah, what could be bigger than that Neil Adams Superman cover? Because that's a pretty significant book. So yeah, I just got to introduce it as I'm going over the book. But as you know, I have a growing number. I've kind of been focused on picking up Bronze Age books. I hadn't really turned my attention to Silver Age books, just because, not that I can't, I can definitely do that. It's just harder to, Silver Age books for Superman and Batman are just a little harder to come by at the comic shop. Oftentimes the ones you run into at the comic shop are really low grade copies, mid to low grade. They're not cheap. They're generally commons, right? And so, I just haven't had an opportunity to find a Silver Age book that I've been wanting to add. But that all changed for me as I was kind of doing my research on different books in the Silver Age. I came across a book that I had to have, that I absolutely had to have. And he did a beautiful job of packaging this. So kudos to the guy I bought this from. He did a wonderful, absolutely wonderful job. And we're just going to open this up. We're going to be able to take a look at what we got. You can congratulate me on my first Silver Age addition to the comic collection. Did tape it on here, but it's protected, so I guess it's not so bad. This is the first book that we're adding to the collection, the Silver Age. The first Silver Age book that we're adding to the collection. Now you're probably saying, hey, Otaku Tour Guide, what's so great about this book? Why would you choose this book over the Neil Adams cover? The Neil Adams cover is obviously the more desirable book. Would you say? Even this book, right? I think most people would agree. Maybe even this book might be more desirable. I guess some people might think that. There's not much going on in this cover, but the reason I like it is, first of all, I love the trade dress there, the Action Comics. It's the and what I paid for. First of all, it's not the main issue with this book, as you will see, like for example, no creases. There are no creases on this book. Okay, it's absolutely a very clean book. The issues are, there's a little bit of a tear right there, very, very minor. It's got some rubbing here, right along this spine line there, a little bit of rubbing there. And that is probably the most significant. The other thing is it's got foxing around the edges. And if you take a really close look, you can see what I'm talking about. Let me just get it down there for you. Actually, I may just have to come up with the camera. So if you look right at the edges, along the edges of the book, you can see the foxing right there. I think that's a good angle. And it's just a dulling. I wouldn't call it severe foxing, but it is just along that edge there. Otherwise, it's still for a 60-year-old book, going on 60-year-old book, this is absolutely presents really fabulously. And so I don't know if this necessarily needs a clean and press. If we are going to get this clean and pressed, it's got to be done by true professionals, people who know how to handle books. And there is a local guy here in Kirkland. I've been meaning to go to him and kind of get pricing and figure out if it's something. He does great restorative like just in terms of cleaning, he does a great job cleaning these kinds of issues on books. So I am confident you can get this book looking spick and span. And this is a book I would definitely invest those kinds of services in just to get the grade bumps, because as is, I would say this is, again, Silver Age book, I would say this is a solid 6.0. But with that cleaning and the care and the pressing, I could see this getting up to be honest, I can see this getting up to a 7.5. It's that beautiful of a book. Red, yellow trade dress that's representative of the title. You've also got all the characters that at that time were kind of associated with Superman. All the mains. You've got Lois Lane. You've got Perry White. You've got Supergirl, Batman, Robin, Jimmy Olsen. You've even got Lana Lang. You've got the Merlady, the mermaid, who becomes like a sort of a love interest for Superman, and some other characters there. Unfortunately, I haven't read too many Silver Age Superman, so I can't tell you who the folks back there are. But anyway, you got everybody in this cover. So it's a great cover just to begin with. Everybody wants to shake Superman's hand. It's a great cover to begin with. Now, what made me want to get this book? What makes this book special? This is Action Comics 309. Okay, it's a Silver Age book. And it's the first appearance of John F. Kennedy, the American president who was assassinated. Everybody knows who John F. Kennedy is. And so, he appears in this book. In fact, they ask, who is the mystery masquerader? In the story, JFK agrees to help Superman out and dresses up as Clark Kent. So that's actually JFK, in the context of the story, that's JFK pretending to be Clark Kent so that none of his buddies, his colleagues and friends will know his real true identity. So JFK helps Superman out. JFK appears on the last panels of this book. It's revealed that the President of the United States is the one that is the mystery masquerader. Okay, that's all fine and dandy, right? Well, they again, this it's a Kurt Swan cover. Kurt Swan is the cover artist. That's the guy who wrote the story. Edmund Hamilton wrote the story, and again, Kurt Swan did the interiors. And what happened was they had JFK in the panels of this book. They sent it out a couple months prior to the cover date here, which is February of 1964. So it went out a couple months before, and it was hitting the newsstands. And when they sent it out, when they shipped it out, a few days later, JFK was assassinated. He was assassinated. It was big news. The publisher, DC at the time was like, okay, oh my gosh, we got to recall these books. We got to get these books back. So they reached out. They tried to get these books back, but no one sent the books back. Basically, they failed to recall the books. And so, they obviously stopped printing and publishing them after the limited copies that went out were distributed. and the damage was done. So they couldn't really backtrack. This became part of Action Comics canon. They couldn't correct it. It's just JFK there in the comic book for people, for kids, for people to read. But he's also dead. So they were reading the comic book and knowing that JFK had died. Now, you can take a look at it. You can look at it from two perspectives. One, yeah, you can look at it as like not the most. It's not the most ideal situation. Obviously, a president has died, and you're kind of creating this funny sort of comic book story. You know, even though it's fictional, you're just putting a dead president in a scenario where it's again, like comic book. These comic books aren't necessarily, you know, serious. They're meant for kids. It's not really considered, you know, literature or anything academic. They're funny books, right? So yeah, poor judge, you know, poor judgment was made. Actually, it wasn't anyone's fault. Who knew? Had the editors known the president would have been assassinated, no one would have put this book out. No one would have published this book. But yeah, it can be, obviously, I'm sure DC Comics put out a statement saying, you know, this was not our intention, whatever. It was not big news at the time. And it kind of just, for the most part, kind of went unnoticed, I think, by most people. And of course, it probably didn't go unnoticed by people who collected comics or read comics. But I think what it also does is it paints a very positive light of the president. Here, the president is helping out Superman in his, you know, who's a hero in his time of need. So even though it's a fictional, it's kind of a nice tribute to the president, you know. So that's the way I look at it, and that's why I wanted to pick up this book. I didn't want to pick up this book had I thought it was like being exploiting a situation where, you know, the assassination of the president, you know, sort of his image was being exploited, or that situation was, you know, being taken advantage of in a certain way just to sell comic books. It wasn't one of those scenarios. So for me, this is a really big piece of comic book history. Here we have the assassination of a president, and a book being published, basically being distributed 2 days before his assassination, okay? And a book just marking the great work the president was doing, and the sentiment of the country regarding the president and what you know, how he was handling his administration. So that's for me is what makes this book really appealing, and the reason I wanted to have it in my collection. So when I look at this interaction here, right, and all the people waiting, I'm really looking at, you know, JFK, because Superman, you could argue the metaphor that Superman is kind of like the president. You know, the president is somebody who looks out for America's interests and really does. We look up to him to do all the things we can't do. You know, he's the president has all the power of the executive, you know, branch. And so, yeah, again, I look at it as a nice tribute to JFK. And again, who is the mystery masquerader? It's JFK. And again, great piece of history. So yeah, thank you for watching this haul video. Let me know what you think of this book. what you think of the haul, what you think the best book in my haul was. Maybe it's not this book, maybe you disagree about the value or the collectability of this book. But for me, for this being my first Silver Age book, and knowing the book's historical significance, again, the first appearance of JFK in comic books, and it's a beauty. It's a beauty. 1964, February of 1964 beauty, with all the key characters there on the cover, very bright and colorful. It pretty much epitomizes the Silver Age in one image. Absolutely happy to have this in my collection now. Absolutely happy. This automatically, instantly becomes my number one book in the collection. My number one book. So let me know what you think of this book and the haul so far. This is definitely, again, the best haul of, to be honest, last year and this year, because this one book. If I just did a haul video on just this one book, this would qualify as the biggest pickup, my first Silver Age book. But the fact that I have all these other books also associated, in the Jim Lee early book, that the Wolverine cover, the George Perez key. So this just I'm just really happy to share what I picked up, and again, would appreciate your comments on what you thought. And again, thank you for supporting this channel, watching. I just enjoy sharing and picking up these books, sharing them with you, and again, giving my insight into what I collect and why I collect. I think that's, if there's anything to take away, or if there's any value I add, it's not like I am showing off my books, but I'm showing them off, and hopefully you are seeing the value in what I show off, and not just, that's what he collects, I collect this. Hopefully you're seeing just the value in why I pick up what I get. So again, picked up some Jim Lee books, picked up this big, huge Superman Silver Age book, and thank you again for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.